Yo guys, it is Mez and welcome to another video. Today we're talking about episode 9 of Daredevil Born Again, which is the finale. Really excited to share my thoughts with you. Let me know what you guys think also in the comments down below. I was really looking forward to this episode after seeing episode 8. Also, if you haven't seen my other Daredevil videos, please check the link in the description down below. I'll have all the playlist of every Daredevil episode I've talked about. And once again, I'm going into spoiler territory. If you've not watched it, well, you've been warned. We directly pick up after the events of episode 8, but before we could even revisit that, we are treated with an important flashback scene. In this very scene, which took place a year ago, we see Vanessa and Ben Poindexter, also known as Bullseye, at what seems to be a mental hospital. It was a nice nod from the writers that we got to reference Agent Nadeem from the OG Daredevil season 3, and that the whole FBI scandal that they were involved in. Vanessa was able to appeal to Ben as Wilson abandoned them both, and it is revealed that in order to proceed with their quote-unquote business plans, he had to eliminate someone, and that was inevitably Foggy Nelson. She manipulates him to do the task and he forcibly agrees. We then return back to the events post episode 8, and I really liked how they transitioned the flashback scene into the blue color grading, again showing Bullseye's present day. We see from his perspective that he directly targeted Wilson and Matt saved him. I also liked how it showed the crosshair of the sniper to be Bullseye's symbol, a nice little nod. We now see Matt in the hospital. Before it was Angela, then Heather, and now Matt. It's quite nice how they did that. As Matt wakes up, even though both Heather and Kirsten were in the room with him, Matt utters Karen's name, which I thought was pretty funny, showing that these guys are basically now relevant in Matt's life. And surely that's foreshadowing that Karen is coming back this episode. Like, it has to happen. We see Wilson and Vanessa post Bullseye event and how Wilson's suit is now covered in Matt's blood. Similarly to the scene wherein Wilson was covered in his own blood in season 3 when Matt basically beat the shit out of him. Once again, there seems to be a common theme. Parallel scenes. In the first scene, Matt does not really care about his well-being, but he still wants answers about what he learned. And conversely, in the second one, Wilson mentions that he's now completed his retro project and that they're able to launder billions due to his power as the mayor. Matt asks Kirsten what Foggy said to her in episode 1, and he wants to see the file of the case that he was working on. Heather starts to slowly realize that Matt is returning to his old ways and she's beginning to lose authenticity. Wilson Fisk has now plotted with Buck to kill Matt in the hospital. They want to label him as a dead hero instead of a live vigilante. He also asked Sheila, who was basically working with him in the office, to work closely with him to find any molds that could be in his office. Sheila actually speaks to the commissioner, and the commissioner starts to get on her side against Wilson. I was like, well, he's gonna die. I think Sheila would be too scared to betray Wilson because Wilson at the moment is a loose cannon. We now see Buck approaching Matt in the hospital. Matt, with his heightened hearing, overhears him. Again, we have two scenes playing simultaneously. Suddenly the power went off in the whole city, which gave Matt enough time to escape.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Matt manages to return to his home, and as he sits on the couch, he spots a familiar face. And ladies and gentlemen, it is none other than Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. Oh baby, things are getting spicy. I really love the banter between these two. It's something we definitely missed and needed. He also mentioned that someone asked him to keep Matt safe. Surely Karen, right? He asked Matt a very important question. Why would he take a bullet for Wilson? This will be explored later in the episode. Matt overhears Fisk's anti-vigilante task force and prepare for their arrival. We then see a zoom in on Punisher's mask, and we see directly that Cole was one of the dirty cops in the anti-vigilante task force. Yes guys, now we know who killed the White Tiger, and cue epic action fight sequence. The contrast between Daredevil and Punisher was definitely something. Daredevil was beating them up like to a pulp, whereas Punisher was literally brutally killing them. I really loved how the writers portrayed how brutal Punisher is. Like, this is what we need. We are then left with the one, and that is Cole. Punisher manages to find the bullet with his mark on it and tells Daredevil. This is now a confirmation that he is exactly the person who killed the White Tiger. I liked the end of the scene as Punisher is like the devil inside Daredevil, telling him to kill him for what he did. Matt is just Conscience, the guardian angel angel, let's say, and he's trying to resist. Daredevil hears a grenade and they jump out the building. As they jump out the building, they basically land in a car and then they start walking across the street. And then we see someone driving towards them with the headlights on. And as the headlights turn off and we see someone getting out the car, yes, finally it is Karen, and it's about time. Matt and Karen reunite. However, Matt is a little upset that she's only talking to Frank and not him. He tells Karen the truth that Foggy's death was set up by Vanessa. They go to the storage area where all files are kept to learn the truth about him, but Punisher did not want to join because he had his own stuff to deal with and doesn't want to use Daredevil's methods. We then get a little bit of a turn to Daniel, who is now in a council meeting. He's essentially blackmailing them to fulfill the mayor's demands. We get to see more of how Daniel shines in his own way. We see more of BB's report of the aftermath of the power cut. We see riots and chaos building. Surely that personifies that more chaos is to follow. The anti-vigilante task force is now roaming the streets, taking out any vigilante they see. There's a scene where they shot a looter and put a mask on his head saying that he was a vigilante. This is twisted stuff. Matt and Karen are in the unit and they talk further about their lack of communication, let's say. Matt finds Foggy's collection and we get a nice homage to Avocados at Law. It's a really nice moment, touching, because it's like brings a callback to the original Netflix show, and it's the first time they really are remembering the good times about Foggy, because we didn't really get that moment at all in this show. Matt really speaks for us when he says, "I'm glad you're back." And Matt, we all feel the same. They find info on the Red Hook, which is the area used by the Fist to launder money without taxes, customs, as it's basically a free port. Punisher overhears the radio now and he is talking about the dirty cops and he prepares to do something himself. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we see Punisher going crazy. He's killing anyone. As the anti-vigilante task force basically worshipped him, they chose to use non-lethals as they want to capture him, which they eventually ended up doing. We see Fist listen to a recording of the commissioner's convo with Sheila. I was like, oh no guys, he's fucked, and poor Sheila, she has to go through it. The commissioner gets in the car and we see someone on the driver's seat. At first I was like, oh my god, is that Luke Cage? But sadly it wasn't, and we see the Punisher logo on the back of his neck, and it was a dirty cop in fact. Again, I repeat, we get two scenes simultaneously. One was with the commissioner and one was about Punishers being captured. I'm going to go through the events in the sequence it happened. Firstly, with the commissioner, we see the commissioner approaching the tent with Buck to see Wilson with his staff. Punisher is basically captured now and sees that how much they admire him, and basically the task force wants him to join. Kingpin starts to hit the commissioner and slowly starts hitting him more, but before that he tells Wilson that he never stopped being the Kingpin. And as we go further into the Punisher scene, Punisher tells them that how can you admire me when you're not experienced my pain, my loss, basically everything that he went through in his life. Then we see Wilson putting his hands on the commissioner's head and starts to squeeze it, and I was thinking, oh my god, are we about to go full Game of Thrones right now? Punisher has now told the task force to basically piss off and they start beating him up. As this happens, and bro, I did not expect this, Wilson Fisk, and I literally cannot explain this enough, Wilson Fisk literally popped his head open and tore his face off. Unfortunately, I cannot show this scene on YouTube because it's quite gory, but this moment was peak. As he said, any questions? It basically put a picture in my mind. Did we really question who he really is? We now see that Daredevil and Karen are out at the Red Port where Wilson's new base is. Daredevil wants to go in, but Karen says it's basically suicide and for him to be smart. Also bearing in mind he's still carrying his injuries from the previous episode. Daredevil agreed with that and said to her that we're going to take back the city and we need an army. Now does that mean the defenders are coming back? We then get what is like a time jump where it's now daytime and we don't see the night time where there's no power. Heather has now become the mayor's administration of mental health. This is bad because now she is directly involved with Wilson. We then get an address to the city from the mayor himself. Wilson told the city that the commissioner has resigned, and I was like, yeah, right. He has completely banned vigilante activity. He has enforced martial law. But don't worry guys, he still loves New York. We see a young Matt looking out the window while Matt narrates, and then we see Daredevil, Karen in Josie's diner with a group of people which was like to be the star of Daredevil's army. We see all the vigilantes that have been imprisoned as well, with the cameo of the swordsman and Frank while Vanessa and Wilson were walking. The way the music played was very Batman-like ending, especially the Matt Reeves movie. Wilson and Vanessa seem to be happier now, and again we see the painting in the background showing them that they have been reunited with blood and violence. We are literally seeing the reactions of all the characters. We get shots of each character that we've seen so far, and we get to see where their position is at the moment. While Matt is still narrating, he's sounding like he's sparking a new revolution. We are the city without the fear, and Face to Red. Amazing writing, great ending, and it's also very nice that at the end of the credits, we get a nice tease to what we're going to get, a Punisher presentation. It's basically like a series that's coming out, and we're going to see more of the Punisher. Cannot wait. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. I will be making a separate video of my predictions of season 2. I would normally do it at the end of this one, but I just want to make it separate because I've got more things to talk about. And I will also make a separate video as well comparing this season with the season 1 of the original series. So be on the lookout for that. That's it for season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. Sad it's over, but I'm glad we're getting season 2. Like I said, I'll be making more Daredevil content, so be in the lookout for that. If you have any other suggestions as well, please let me know in the comments down below and I'll take a look into it. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.